Church, all 5 couples are married, and just as I thought, Alyssa about to be the problem child this season. Mark my words. I got my notes. I hope y'all got yours. Let's get on into this damn mess. All right, y'all, so let's get into our last 2 married couples, Stephen Noy and Alyssa and Chris. So starting with Stephen Noy, I really feel, y'all, that the attraction is there, which I think is a very positive thing. They're mad cute. Like, they are just, like, they make you smile. I found myself while I was watching the episode literally smiling uncontrollably just because they were very cute together and their rapport seems to be building very, very well. So I think that's a very good in terms of their, newfound relationship. In terms of their outlook, based on the interactions that we've seen so far, which has not been extensive, but if I were just to make like a, informed guess, the outlook seems positive, right? Sometimes people start out positive and then by the end of it, it's negative. Sometimes they start out negative and by the end of it, they're positive and they're just in love and down to decision day, about to, burst with rainbows and happiness. So we'll see what happens. But for right now, the outlook seems positive. Now, we got to talk about Steve's unemployment adventure when he broke it to Noy. So listen, I think he did a very good job, okay? Because, baby, when you ain't got no job, you have to be very careful about what you tell your, potential spouse or whatever. She over here planning her life, potential children, merging y'all lives together, maybe a house, down the road. And listen, we live in a capitalist society, baby. So if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. So he had to be very careful. He couldn't just launch off, I ain't got no job, okay? It doesn't work that way. It would have caught her off guard. She would have been in a bad place. So I love the way that he told the story, right? Like, I was working at this place for 4 years. I was a sales engineer. They had a round of layoffs. And I just decided that, I was going to go on an adventure and find myself. Perfect. I think anybody in the working world can understand, being laid off of a job, not being happy, trying to find yourself. So I think he phrased it very well. And I think because of the way he phrased it, Noy was able to understand it. And she didn't really seem that taken aback by it. Don't get me wrong. Her face said a little bit like, oh, that's a little bit odd and stuff. But she did say that it's not a problem for now. Okay. So y'all need to catch the subtext under there. It's not a problem for now, which means, eventually we're going to have this conversation because, listen, it's okay for you not to work, provided that you have savings and can support yourself. But eventually, if we're going to be combining our lives and planning a future, you're going to have to find a way to support, your side of the family. Noy can't take this all on her own, in my opinion. Now, moving forward to our problem children, well, really our problem child. Okay, Chris is not bad. Alyssa is the problem. So in terms of Alyssa and Chris, y'all, let's talk attraction and outlook. Attraction is definitely there for him, which wasn't a surprise for me. Despite all her shortcomings, Alyssa is very attractive, okay? It's not until you start talking to her that you realize something may be a little bit off, okay? So definitely attraction was there for her. Attraction was there for him. In terms of her, it was very poignant right before she walked out to the wedding part that she said, I want him to be tall, tan, handsome, and with really good teeth. Okay, baby? Now, once she turned that corner, let's do the summary. He's not tall. The man is not tan. Handsome is relative. I think he's handsome. It's not like a movie star handsome, but it's like he's not a tree monster in the words of Lonnie Love from The Real. He ain't no tree monster. So, he's good. He's good in that area. And in terms of the teeth, I think we got a problem, okay? Because I don't know the definition particularly of snaggletooth, okay? And don't get me wrong, he has all the teethuses in the front and on the bottom, but they're like jagged. They're like jagged and pointy and stuff. So I don't know. Y'all drop down in the comments and let me know if that's the definition of snaggletooth. If it is, then he got a snaggle mouth. If not, then perhaps she can work with it. I don't know. But just in terms of that, attraction is definitely there for him. For her, not so much. And I think we really saw that from the beginning. So based on this, in terms of her just being in her head, the outlook does not look positive. But let's discuss it a little bit more. So in terms of Alyssa, y'all, she seems to be, and this could just be me or this could just be, you know, how she comes across in the beginning. But she seems very tightly wound and controlling in a sense. I think that we all probably have people in our lives that just seemed very tightly wound, like they are in control of their whole entire image. Like everything has to be, the aesthetic has to be on point, like, you know, the visual has to be there. They're in this tiny defined box, right? It's a very controlled space. And unfortunately, what we're seeing is that Chris is not fitting into Alyssa's defined box, which is no fault of his, right? You know, they were matched by the experts, so there's going to be some room for error. But just in terms of her face, which she said that, you know, you can always tell what she's thinking by her face. Her face wasn't lit up. She was kind of divided from him at the altar, which already lets you know she didn't really seem to be, you know, feeling this man like she should have been, or like somebody would in that case. In terms of her being controlling, what I thought was really, really interesting, though, is that after the wedding part where you're getting to know the family and the friends and you're having the talk with, you know, the people closest to them, his friends said that, you know, he can be condescending, kind of like a know-it-all type thing, because, you know, he does it in a good way in terms of like, he doesn't mean to be condescending, but if he can help you, unfortunately, it comes off in that way, but his intentions are pure. That's what I got from it. Let me know if y'all got, you know, something different. But what I found interesting about that is that that's, to me, it's a form of being controlled. It's a form of being in a box as well. And it's so weird that Alyssa's form of control is exterior, right? Like you can see it from the moment, like it oozes from her pores when she, you know, talks, when she tells, you know, the camera what she's looking for, when she, in her demeanor with Chris, it comes out, right? Like you can tell the sense of control that she seems to have over her life. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying in this instance where you're putting yourself out there and you're trying to do something different than you've always done, it could be a little bit of a hindrance in my opinion. But I did find it interesting that, you know, her form of control is on the exterior, his form of control is on the interior, right? So it's what he says, it's how he feels, it's how he acts, right? Based on, you know, his life experiences, what he does for a living, and his whole background. He just has that takeover spirit, that condescending spirit, that I can help you because I know better spirits on the inside. So low-key, I can kind of see why the experts match them, because if one person is showing their exterior to be that and the other person is really that way on the inside, then maybe there's some symbiotic relationship there. I don't really know. Or perhaps they'll burn each other to the ground, but we shall see. Now, let's get into this side piece comment, which some could say it's what caused the argument, but in my opinion, I don't think that the side piece comment was the be all and end all of their breakdown, right? You have to understand these situations that they create on the TV in terms of like the wedding, it's a multi-hour process, right? You're tired. And to me, it gets longer if you're not really feeling the person to begin with, right? Y'all know, if y'all are with somebody that y'all don't really like or you don't really mess with, 5 minutes can seem like 5 hours, okay? So now you multiply that to 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, and, you know, mama is feeling like she's doing an 18-hour day and trying to be, you know, presentable when maybe she's not really feeling her best. So I empathize with her situation, but I don't think she handled it well. Now, in terms of the side piece thing, apparently they were in the elevator and Chris made some comment that I'm just Alyssa's side piece. Now that comment on its own does not seem strong enough to me to cause any sort of big rifts. But when you think about what may have, you know, all that may have happened that day, the long filming hours, the whole wedding, all the emotions intertwined with that, and couple that with the fact that she's not really feeling this man, to me, anything he said would have set her off, okay? So I don't think it was necessarily just the side piece comment. I think it was that. It was talking with the friends. It was the wedding. It was I'm not feeling it. It was the emotions. It was a lot. So it was all a recipe for disaster. And it would have happened, you know, later, but to me, it's better to get these things out sooner, because we've seen sometimes on this show that when the couples have the initial blow-ups early in their relationship, they're able to rebuild and kind of build a rapport from there. Now, I'm not saying I see it for Alyssa and Chris. I'm just saying that, you know, if we use history as a determining factor, perhaps there's hope. I don't know. But, you know, she's been dropping nuggets, right? She said she's driven by her gut, right? And she always goes with what her gut says. And this goes back to my whole hindrance thing where I'm like, you signed up for this experience because what you've always traditionally done in the past has not worked for you, right? So my only wish for Alyssa is that step outside your box, right? Take the time to step outside of your box. Let someone else have the reins. Give up a little bit of the control that you seem to have over your whole being and just embrace the process, right? Because it could surprise you. And I'm not saying that by the end of the process, she'll be in love with this man. I'm just saying if you signed up for it, it meant that what you were doing in the past wasn't working. So you might as well give this a good college try and see if it works out. So that's all I'm saying. So we'll see. But like I said, I don't really feel their outlook is good, but I've been surprised before. Moving on to Katina and Olajuwon. So Katina and Olajuwon, they're really growing on me, y'all. So they look really good together, which I think is it is really good. There seems to be a comfort level there. In the first episode, Olajuwon was a little bit cringy in terms of his adamant profession of love and like for her. It was a little bit much for me. Perhaps she was just nervous in the first episode, because by this one here, she seems to be more comfortable, more able to receive it, and they seem very, very lovey-dovey and like it was reciprocal. So I thought that that was great. There's also a lot of sexual tension, which is good. Listen, you want to be attracted to your arranged marriage or whatever, and you want to find that person attractive, and they use. So I think that the fact that there's a comfort level there, they can joke and laugh together, and there's also the inklings of sexual tension, because they probably burn each other to the ground, baby, the way they was looking at each other. You know, they all tatted up. I told y'all he gave me fuckboy from the minute I saw him, okay? And just because he's a fuckboy doesn't mean that he's that now, because he says he like, you know, he's reformed or whatever, but that doesn't mean he doesn't remember the fuckboy skills, okay? So get ready, Katina, because he might be trying to, you know, take you down like Chris Brown. Let me stop. Let me stop. But sexual tension is good. Now, you know, I can't ever give someone compliments without, you know, we got to talk about the good and the bad, y'all. So I really want to talk about the warning that the groomsmen gave Katina in terms of he may groom you into the wife he wants. This is really problematic for me because you know, in my last review, y'all, I said that I hope that Olajuwon is able to be malleable in terms of what he's seeking in a wife, because he seems to be looking for a very traditional type of wife, someone who's going to cook, clean, be a homemaker, blah, blah, blah. And it's okay to want that, but because of you're in this process, you don't get to pick what you get. And so it's very problematic to me that in his past, he's tried to mold people into what he wants them to be. And I don't think that's going to work for Katina, okay? Mama got her own mind. Mama got her own spirit, and she got her own moxie. She's not really trying to be controlled or molded into something else, right? So I think he needs to tread carefully there, because I already see it's going to be maybe a little bit dicey in the future if he's trying to change people. And don't get me wrong, people can change for the right person if that's what they want to do, but you cannot change anybody that doesn't want to be changed. And if there's no problem there, and it's a one-sided thing where you want them to be this and they're not that, if they don't feel it, it's not going to happen. So listen to the groomsmen, okay? They told you right. And then just a funny note, y'all, isn't Katina mama funny? I said that lady was shady as hell. Olajuwon would have gotten on my last nerves with that ADHD. Like, I can't stand people that can't focus. Okay, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I get sidetracked and I go off on, you know, tangents and stuff. But baby, if you are talking to me about eggs, I don't want to hear about the sky, you know, the birds, the planes, XYZ, okay? Stay on message for me. And like, that's the best way to go. But I just thought it was funny that she leaned into his kind of ADHD, flighty type conversation. She was like, look, a rabbit. And then mama got up and exited stage left. I said, you better go ahead, Katina mama. You better go ahead. Like I said before in another review, ain't nothing more shady than an old black woman. So good job, Mama Katina. Moving on to Jasmina and Michael. Just two things I want to talk about here with them. So I wrote that she needs someone that's emotionally available, and he's admittedly struggled with that. You can work on the emotional availability. That's something that can be, remedied through therapy, through time XYZ. But let's talk about the real problem here, y'all. You cannot work on being emotionally available if your ass ain't there. Okay, did y'all hear his schedule? Let me read this to y'all. Monday through Friday, 4 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. he's working. I think he's a personal trainer, and then he has sporadic weekends. Let me tell y'all the problem with this, okay? If you are working from 4 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. and you're admittedly saying that you're a grandpa and you like to be in bed by 8:39, that literally only gives you an hour, maybe an hour and a half to work on your emotional availability, baby. You can't work on your emotional availability when you're physically unavailable, okay? She a night owl, which means she's gonna be up watching BTS and Korean dramas on Netflix and Amazon Prime, and your ass gonna be sleeping waiting to get back up at 4 a.m. and start it all over again. So listen, she may be worried about emotional availability, but mama, the problem is actually his physical availability, okay? You solve that and you might solve the other one. So listen, I know that that's his schedule, but to me, and y'all drop down in the comments, a personal trainer, they live a very ad hoc schedule, right? Like it can be moved around. And so if this relationship is something that is valuable to you, is something that you put some gumption in and you really want it to work, I think your schedule can be worked out, and I think it could be modified so that you're spending the maximum amount of time you can with your new wife to try to make this work, okay? Because you're not going to be able to fix your emotional availability if your ass is never there. And that's all I'm going to say on that one. I did like how Michael's sisters embraced her with the pin, to signify, the mom's death and stuff. I thought that was really nice. And to me, it sort of gave a glimmer of hope that as long as Jasmina has someone in Michael's life who can admit or profess to him being a good guy, worth all of the issues that may result from his schedule, I thought that was just to give her hope, right? That there's a good person there and that it's something to work towards. So really nice moment there. All right, y'all. And last but not least, let's talk about Lindsey and Mark. Not really that much that happened with them this episode, but it was funny to me when he was doing his confessional and he said he wants to see her when the sun goes down, okay? Let me read into the subtext and the shade of all this, okay? That was not a sexual comment, honey. That was not him saying he wanted to get her down to the bed. It was him saying, I want to see her when the sun goes down, when she relaxes and mama is quiet. I told y'all, he said last episode that he's dated the kind of like big personality women in the past and it hasn't worked, and he's giving this one a try and stuff. But he's saying, listen, I got a big personality and you got a bigger one, but I'm gonna need you to bring it down just a little bit, and I want to get to know the real you. That's honest, and I think it's something that can be modified as long as he's not trying to make her change fundamentally who she is as a person, okay? That can be worked on. And in terms of her having a hard exterior, listen, mama has had a hard life. She got issues with her mom and stuff and trusting people. So listen, the way you break down someone's hard exterior is just time. It's time and it's being there. So once he spends time with her, makes her feel comfortable, and he's just there, and he's a person that she can rely on, that hard exterior will just break down and she'll be fine. She'll be mushy and pink, like Wendy Williams say. All right, y'all, and let's talk about who's likely to have sex first night, because I feel like that's where sort of the episode left us off. In my opinion, I don't think so. I'm sort of double-minded on this. On one hand, I don't think anybody really is going to have sex the first night. I think that number one, they're all tired. Number two, they don't want to seem like they're rushing into something, at the end. Even though it's your husband, it's still a stranger, okay? And I'm sure they get them all STD tested and whatnot, but I want my own like independent test, and that's just me, baby. Now, in terms of who has the most sexual chemistry so far, I would say number one would be Katina and Olajuwon. Their chemistry and their sexual tension is palpable, baby. Like, you can feel it. But I do like how Katina was like, I don't intend to have sex the first night. She's thinking it's going to be a month. That's fine. We could start the countdown. I think it's going to be less than a month, but that's just me. Y'all drop down in the comments and let me know if you think Katina going to make it a month without taking Olajuwon down, or vice versa. So we'll see what happens. But I actually have a weird pick for who I think may have sex on the first night if it should go down, y'all. And I honestly feel that I have a surprise pick. I think it's Lindsey and Mark. I really do. There's something about their connection and just her comfortability around her body and just her general demeanor that just lets me know that she may be open to it. And I think it'll just be just like Mark said when he was talking to the camera, and he was like, you know, she's the type to tap you in the middle of the night, hey, you wanna you know, do something in the bed or whatever. I think that that's plausible. You know, it might happen. If it happens, great, and if it doesn't, oh well. And if it happens, I want credit, and if it doesn't, then I thought nobody was gonna have sex anyway, y'all. All right, y'all. I think that's really all I want to say for this episode, y'all. So if you liked what I said, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on all social media at DatDamnDasher. And until next time, y'all, keep praying for Chris, honey, because Alyssa is going to be our problem child this season. Mark my words. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.